machete gonna chop her to the wire.
Hey, bum the way.
Wrapped in spaghetti, about to catch me on fire.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. I don't like living in a simulation.
Hey, bum the way.
Unplug my way back to civilization.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Me take the incline and I can't see the stars. Me can't feel the human from beyond the avatar. Just the prison, fuck the algorithm. If your battery is dying and you're getting busy living, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way.
Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, my friends, welcome to the Live Loving live stream. It is I, John, here in the fabulous John of News Studios on the final day of all water. Thank you very much. Tomorrow morning, I hit my broth. I do a week of broth fasting, and then off into a week of OMAD, zero carb, and then I'll be done all the fasting stuff for this year. So, but just to give you guys a little heads up, I know the we'll release date, time, weights tomorrow, but I weighed in tonight at 319. I started the fast, I was 343. And at Christmas time, I was 367. So all told, since Christmas, I've lost 48 pounds. And since the fast has started, I've lost 24. So I've lost about half of, in fact, exactly half of my weight happened during the past few weeks. And like I said, 2 more weeks of coming out of the fast, but I'll still probably lose weight this next week. And I might level off the following week. But my goal is to keep losing weight for the next until I reach 100 pounds down from where I am now. I want to get down to at least 220, 219, something like that. But yeah, I want to thank all of you guys who are enjoying my brother Jim's music. He is the most talented musician I know. He can play anything. If he doesn't know how, he just goes over and he just learns it, and it's wonderful. It's been an amazing time watching him explode into this amazing musician, and I'm slowly going to transform all my music over to my brother Jim's music. That song you just heard was called "Bummed Away." If you're interested in Jimmy, hearing more about Jimmy or knowing more about Jimmy, in the description under every video is now a link to Jimmy Davis's YouTube channel. So go over and check him out. And he makes some really interesting videos. He's also he's one of those guys. To give you an example of what my brother is like, he one time told me if he could have his kids think of him as Caractacus Potts from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that's what he would do, and that's exactly what he's done. He's always inventing things. And one of the videos he did, he went back and he found all these 1980s robot toys, and he repaired them all and made a video using these robots. It's pretty amazing. If you go over and watch the channel, it's interesting. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Thank you for all the comments on the weight loss. My plan, like I said, is I'm gonna keep losing weight this year. If you go back and you just look at my videos in December, and then look at my videos now, my face was like this, and there was no neck, right? So it was a very different looking John back in those days. It's kind of interesting to go back and look at that now. But yeah, let's jump right into any questions or comments you guys may have. But remember, please, as you are commenting, make sure you put your topics and your questions in all capitals. That way we can I can see them in the chat, because you guys always have wonderful conversations over there, and I want to make sure that I get to the questions. They're easier to spot if you just put them in all caps. You'll notice that there are a couple different chat board managers over there. I just without even asking, made Chitra a manager over there. And Chitra, you'll have to explore it and see what you can do with that. You'll also notice the other one is my sister Patty. Now I want to warn you about Patty. Patty's a bulldog. She's not very verbose, but boy, she'll take you out. So be good and kind to everyone over there in the chat board. That's an interesting question. Ali, the question you asked is, do I play an instrument? When I was a kid, I played saxophone, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But once I was done school, I was done. My thing was acting more than music, and so I really got into that. Now, I was a singer. I used to sing in an a cappella group called the Acapellars. And when I used to sing with that group, we sang in bars and it was more of a hobby kind of thing, but boy, do we love doing it. Really fun. A lot of oldies and all that sort of thing. So yeah, the musical instrument, not really, but loved to sing. Used to love to sing. Then I became a Renaissance Festival performer, and I played a character named Sir Nigel Hack for 21 years, and that character spoke like this: "I am Sir Nigel Hack, the richest, most handsome knight in the realm, gentleman, adventurer, and god among men." So I really worked my voice for about 21 years, which made me lose all of my high notes. Aloha. Do I have a favorite actor? I do. Do I have a favorite actor or actress? I'm a big fan of Claire Danes. I think she's a tremendously talented actress. I think she's really, really good. There are some who I think are overrated, but there are some that I think really shine. If I look at older actors, I love Dustin Hoffman because he is always different in every role, as opposed to, and I love Sean Connery, but he was always the same in every role. So to me, so for me, the actors like that, I love Robin Williams. He was always a big fan, and the one regret that I have with Robin Williams is when I did my USO shows. There was a couple of tours that I was the week behind Robin Williams, so he was there the week before, and then we were there the week after. So I never got a chance to meet him, but we were always on his tail. And if you go on YouTube and look at a video out there with Robin Williams in Kuwait, and there's a video of him standing on stage, and all of a sudden, in the middle of him doing his bit, the entire audience stands up and turns around and faces away from him, and you see him gets kind of stuck, and he kind of gets calmed down like that. And what was happening was, over the hill, behind the audience, Reveille started playing, which meant the flag was going down, but you couldn't see it from the stage. Robin Williams had no idea what was going on. The reason I like that video so much is because the exact same thing happened to me the week after. It's the exact same situation. On stage, the whole audience gets up, turns around, we're like, what's over there? That's scary. Hey, Sarah Kay has made it in the house. Hi, Sarah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, favorite movies. I love that. For years and years and years, my favorite movie was the Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. But I have to say right now, my favorite movie is Shakespeare in Love and Good Will Hunting. I think those are just tremendously good movies, and I absolutely love them. And there are certain movies now that if I'm clicking the channel and it's on, the mic gets dropped. The remote gets dropped. One of those is Hidden Figures. If Hidden Figures is on, I am watching that, and every piece and part of it. But yeah, that to me is my favorites that I can think of right now. Chitra, I love you for asking this question, because Monday I have a video coming out about exactly that. I love the build up to an eclipse like that, because there's always like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, this impending crap, and then the second the eclipse happens and nothing happens, you never hear from them again. They never mentioned it again. It was never talked about again. The things never happened. That's been going on for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years. Do you remember last year we had a solar eclipse, and they were all like, oh my God, it's the Lion Triune and blah, 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 and this is going to happen. And the day after, never heard about it again. And I actually did a prediction on that one beforehand. I predicted that nothing was going to happen and we'd never hear from him again. And I was right. I did my own prophecy on that one. The question about, foreboding messages, last night's moon, there is nothing set in the future. Every spiritual text says that we are creating with our thought. Thought by thought you forge your destiny. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a man, Yeah, as a man thinketh, so is he. What you think you become, you create your world. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. I think, therefore I am. It always comes down to this idea of our present moment thoughts are creating our experience. And if that's true, then there can't be fate, destinies, or pre-planned missions. And that idea of these fates, destinies, and these prophetic warnings are not about the actual thing happening. It's about the clicks on the videos. It's about getting the ad revenue for it. I made a video that's coming out next week where I'm calling out a big name because he literally made a whole video saying that he was proving that we're in the end times. And I called him out on it, and then I challenged him and every other YouTuber out there to make positive videos for a month. I know they won't because it doesn't make them money when they do that. But yeah, so to me but watch the video on Monday. You'll see the video I did. If you could pick an actor to play in a movie, who would it be? If I could pick an actor to play in a movie, who would it be? I would love to play Sean Connery. I would love to play Sean Connery. Big fan of Sean Connery. But everyone knows just the Bond, James Bond, all that thing. My impersonation of Sean Connery comes from the movie Highlander, where he played one of the most ridiculous characters ever. He was an Egyptian Spaniard, who was dressed as a Spaniard, but he had a Scottish accent. The first time you meet Sean in that movie, he goes, I am Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, Chief Metallurgist to King Charles V of Spain, and I am at your service. And that's my favorite Sean line. The other one is, why does the sun come up? Or are the stars merely pinholes in the curtain of night? Who knows? What I do know is, because you were born different, men will fear you, try to drive you away, like the people of your village. There's my my little impersonation of Sean Connery. I love this question. People put a lot of faith in things in the physical. People put a lot of faith, but the physical itself is atomic energy in motion. There's when you look at the wall and the air, it's all atoms, and over 90% of an atom is empty space. So for one little cluster of empty space to have some significance doesn't make much sense. But when you think about it from the perspective of what you think you become, you create your world, and you start putting your belief in something, then your belief in that thing is doing this thing will create the thing, because you're literally creating. It's not the crystal, it's the faith, it's the belief. And if you come from that realization, you realize you need nothing in the physical. You need nothing in the physical world to tap into a greater awareness of your spiritual self and to effectively change your life. If you're wanting to, I'm taking this crystal because it creates monetary abundance. Why not just believe you're receiving monetary abundance? It's the same thing. It's just the crystal is your middleman. And so that's my thought on that one. Why, thank you, Mind Control. Mind Control. What a great title. What a great name. Thank you. I actually enjoyed the oneness video. I wanted to talk about the simplicity of oneness, because a lot of people, there's one coming out soon about people are now using the term fractals, and they're trying to say that that's oneness, and that's not the same thing as oneness. It's the mental delineation that we are a fractal is not oneness. It's a method of delineation. So there's a video coming up on that real soon. Oh, you leaving us, Theo? You have a great night too, Theo. Thanks for coming. Siddharth, welcome back, my friend. And that is the key. Ignore it, because in reality, it's the eclipse went by, and it didn't show us anything. And if you want to see the pictures I took of the eclipse, go over to the community page on the website, and I got some really good telephoto lens shots of the moon and total blood moon sort of look. So go check that out if you like. Yeah, and here's another thing, Tritark. I haven't watched the news since November, and I haven't missed anything. People are still talking about stuff, and you hear about stuff, but I don't have the daily stress of watching it, so I feel much better. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I said, the moons and the eclipses, they literally, there's an event coming that we know is coming. We scientifically know it's going to happen. So then all the spiritual community starts to go, oh, there's a big meaning behind it, and it just changes the whole thing. In reality, we are creating from our experience, in my opinion. If you want to go there, that's totally cool. And and listen to my sister Patty when she tells you to put questions in all caps because it really does help me. Ramirez. Nice. Uh, oh my God, Siddharth, 5:30 a.m. You got up early. Thanks for doing that. Advice for someone atheist agnostic views and new to more spiritual path. Is this you, Karen? Because if it is, the quotes that I just said about what you think you become, you create your world, right? Einstein said your imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. When Einstein was asked what his thoughts were on God, he said he believed in the God of Spinoza, which is a greater consciousness. He said, because when I look at the atoms and the smallest particles, they're too organized for there not to have been a greater consciousness involved in its creation. So I always try to come back to the God of atheists, Einstein. Right? I come back to science, bring back science. What's interesting right now, and I think it's one of the things that's happening with all the spiritual communities and the religious communities as well, and the science community, I think we're finding an equilibrium because there are a lot of people who are broadening their perspective. Noetic science is a science invented by Edgar Mitchell, the Apollo astronaut. He had a transcendental experience coming back into Earth's atmosphere. And for the rest of his life, he was trying to bridge the gap between science and spirituality, and he created noetic science. And if you look up noetic science, just go over and look at some of they're studying mediums and channels, but they're doing it from the scientific method. But here's one of the sessions I did with somebody one time. I always write something an hour before where I just open up and let whatever comes through. And one of the quotes that came out in one of those sessions was, all empirical evidence is found in the illusion of belief, therefore science itself is a dogma. And to me, that's a great statement because a scientist goes into their process. Most of them have a theory. What is that? What is their theory? Their belief. So they start creating the evidence of their belief within this illusion of belief. So it's really kind of an interesting animal. Over the course of time, I think science and atheist agnostic, they're going to be able to take the scientific side of this, and they're going to be able to marry. Oh, those guys are just labeling it as something different, and that's what I think is happening right now, and that's why I think Christian churches have lost 54% of their congregations over the past 20 years. And so much so that all the churches are doing studies on why people are leaving. And the number one answer they got when they said, what did you find when you left? And the answer was freedom. So they're getting free of the dogmas of religion. And eventually, I think science is going to come to a place where they realize that our thoughts are creative, which is something I think Noetics is very close to doing. Yeah, I love that. And let me pull something up here real quick for you. I used to make swords for a living because I was a fight director, and I used to make swords, and which was funny because later on I discovered that my great grandfather had the first contract with the first American Army ever to make all their swords. But I just thought I'd show you a rapier that I made a long time ago. I made that, and it was an antique blade that I had, not a historical like Elizabethan, but more of a like a Victorian reproduction kind of blade. But yeah, I made this rapier to match that and the pommel, and I love this sword. This is the favorite sword of all the ones I ever made. Anyway, thought I'd share that. Da-da. My honest opinion on this is I think that they're taking new age ideologies and they're trying to marry something together. And I don't think Jeshua himself would have cared, because I think his everything he taught is about being present in the now. He didn't care and he in the Bible he literally says that John the Baptist was Elijah returned, but we know that the Bible itself is an interesting amalgam of stuff. But if you listen to what he said, "Think not upon tomorrow, be here today." Kept saying that. Amen means so be it, right here, right now. Everything he said was about being very present and being fearless in the now. And so I think that this is one of these ideas. Some people say that Jesus and Melchizedek were the same being in different reincarnations. It doesn't ring true to me, but it's not necessarily a I could be wrong. I could be wrong about me too. So that's my thought on it. Hope to, yeah. And if you believe it, that's really up to you. Spirituality is a personal journey, and you can believe anything you want. So as long as the end product is that you're loving and caring in the now, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't like to dive into the stuff like that too much. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Keep things straight with facts, but facts change. Because back in the 1980s, peanut butter was a carcinogen. Not anymore. Back in the 1980s, eggs were considered harmful to your health in many facets. Now they're telling you to eat the entire yolk because it is the yolk and the white are a complete food for the human animal. So it's a very interesting concept. I love that. I did a video on my other channel on Native American cultures and Native American spiritual ideas. I think that we all have, if you go back and you study all of them, you find very quickly that there are simple commonalities, that love is a good thing, that being kind to one another as you would want them to treat you, the golden rule, good thing, right? The fact that there's this great spirit or God that is a loving consciousness, same thing, right? Einstein said the number one thing that you must decide, the most important decision you'll ever make is whether you live in a friendly or an unfriendly universe, right? In Christianity, you have to decide whether you believe in an Old Testament vengeful and jealous God or a New Testament God is love. And so it comes down to we're saying the exact same things. Einstein was saying the same thing as the Bible is, but Einstein is putting it from a very perspective of what you think about this universe will show around you in the atomic energy around you. And so you can find very quickly that a God figure in any form doesn't really matter. You're the representation of whatever God figure there is, if there is one. You're the representation of it because your thoughts are creative. And that's Einstein said it, and Buddha said it, and Krishna said it, and Jesus said it, and Shakespeare said it. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Descartes the philosopher, I think, therefore I am. These are philosophers saying it. These are writers saying it. These are spiritual avatars saying it. These are scientists saying it. They're all saying your present moment thoughts are creating your experience. And to choose a positive rather than a negative thought is the way of living into the world in a beautiful way and creating it. So it doesn't really matter if you're atheist or not. The only question I have is, has your atheism made you more loving? And if you're putting love into the world, then I think you found a version of God in my perspective, but maybe you've just chosen to be the representation of that feeling. Well, I identify the feeling as God. So that to me is how we I think it's more semantic than it is a conflict. Next question. This is a wonderful question, Larry. In my first regression, I witnessed John of old cross over and go into the purity of love. I had the opportunity in that experience to experience it. So if you ever hear my regression, and if you haven't, there's a video on my channel called 2 Moments from My Regression, and you can hear what I'm about to say and something else, which is, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. You hear not only this moment I'm about to talk about, but you hear me witness the crucifixion. And if you're a very empathic person, that is a very hard video or audio to listen to. So when you hear me going to the next moment, if you're highly empathic and you don't want to have a crying experience, then that would be the moment you would turn that off. But the first experience was Jeshua walked over, laid his hand on his chest, and John literally left this physical illusion and went into a place of pure love and light. And when I say light, it was like being in a space of whiteness, but you were in it. There was a distance, but you couldn't see the end of it. It was like an infinite, but you knew you were inside of it. It was a very strange experience. But John was just feeling this purity of love, this pure feeling, this pure positive feeling. And then the regressionist says, what's the next most important moment? The next most important moment was me feeling my fears, my anxieties, and my stresses. And I came to the understanding that the physical world is a place of feeling our separation from that feeling. Because if we never felt our fears, anxieties, and stresses, we could never know what the feeling of that love, that purity of love, or God, or that sensation of the higher intelligence is. So we come here to have, this is a very common phrase that people use, we're spirits having a human experience. We're one with God, and we're God having an experience of what it feels like not to be loving. And we have this experience so that we can come to know. It's like being in a room made of pure white, and until you saw another color, you could never understand that white was different from anything else. So you need to have that baseline to measure against, like in science. You would need to have fear to experience that purity. But the understanding that I came away with is that fear is an illusion of love's absence, because love is always present. So that's my thought on it. Jumping down. What are my thoughts on the Knights Templar? I think that they were very much a religious order who were. When I look at them, I come at it from a very interesting perspective, because I told you that my great grandfather was a sword maker. His last name was Rose, and his lineage goes back to Scotland and the Rose Castle. So in other words, the Rose Line Castle, the Rose Castle. So there's a real good possibility that we had Templar Knights in my family line. But what's interesting about it, what do I think of them? I think they were just a religious order who were also very much into the concept of being wealthy and powerful. And, we have Friday the 13th because they got so powerful that the kings of the time got a little angry at them and had them all wiped out on a Friday the 13th. And that's why that even comes around, because wiping out the Templar Knights. I'm fascinated by the TV show Curse of Oak Island, because they keep finding things there that are very Templar oriented. But everyone wants to make this more of a mystical thing. I think it's a more power and money thing than a spiritual mystery. So that's my thought on Tritarch. And listen to Chitra, my friends. That like button really does help. Please hit it. Also, if you want to help this channel grow, there's all kinds of ways in the description. You can buy my coffee. Speaking of that, I'd like to go ahead and throw this in here right now. And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com. And I'm back. See, I even got a commercial in on the live stream. Why did I do that? Because I don't allow mid-roll videos, ads in my videos. I decided YouTube can't do that any longer. So for me to make this funding right, I started that coffee company. I figure if people love coffee and tea, then they can get that coffee and tea and support their coffee and tea love and support the John of New channel at the same time. So, but the one ad that will be in the middle of videos or in the middle of my videos is the John Show ad, which, by the way, if you enjoyed that music in the John Show ad, that was done by my brother Jim as well. I called him up and I said I need 15 seconds of funk music, and he was on it. Let me just keep going down. I love this because when 2012 was happening, I was very much speaking. I was already out doing spiritual speeches, and what I used to do during my speech, I'd look around and go, "Hey, you guys want to know what's going to happen in 2012? I can tell you." And they all lean in real close like there's something going to happen, and I go, "The Mayan calendar is going to end." And they go, "Ha, ha, ha." I go, "No, but wait. Last December, my other calendar ended, and we're still here." And they laugh, and it's so good. I remember that. I remember Y2K. Everyone was freaking out and storing water in their basement. I was on Key West watching the conch drop at New Year's. I've had no fear of that at all. What are your opinions on Ouija boards and tarot cards? I think they are tools that people use to try to tap into their own divinity and their own ideas. If they believe they work, they're going to see the patterns within it. Tarot cards were invented in the 1700s as a card game, and they became a divination tool in the 1800s. They were kind of forgotten for a little bit of a time until Madame Blavatsky brought them back in the 1880s. And then when they moved into the Theosophical Society, it became a New Age sort of tool. So they're not ancient. They're not ancient divination tools. And Ouija boards, of course, are modern, right? And I think you put a bunch of people with their hands on there, and people have thoughts that they're communicating. You're going to have the pattern mind creating things. But I think that if anybody wants to talk to the dead, they're in the oneness of God. The only way you really get to be having clear messages, I believe, is you get present, moment, and fearless, and put your focus on that person who's crossed. And then you're more likely to get a message that way than you will through a Ouija board, in my opinion. Hello, 8613. I'm looking for another. This is a great question. How do you remain in your power, in your own energy, regardless of what happens around you? You can be reacting to stimulus, or you can be acting into the world. You can be an action hero or a reaction zero, right? Whenever I see something that bothers me, the first thing I do is what? Everyone together? Exhale, right? I exhale. Why do I exhale? Because the reaction to the stimulus that you're having is a fear-based reaction. Your body is literally having a fearful response. In the present moment, fear is just an emotional reaction, but it's always an emotional reaction to something potentially negative happening in the future, or from our past, from the things that our subconscious mind and our experience of our past that have been negative that make us think negatively. And so you can't do anything in the past. You can't do anything in the future. The only thing you can do is anything, Only time you have thought, word, and deed consciously is in your present moment. And so in your present moment, all you can do is manage the reaction. And the reaction to fear is to suck air into our lungs and hold it. That's the primal fight or flight response. So in this present moment, just exhale. The other thing is if the stimulus really bothers you, don't put the stimulus in front of you. I haven't watched news since November. I got rid of my Facebook page for the same reason. And so when I look at this, how do I remain in my own power? I just remain present and fearless. And the way I remain fearless is if something is bothering me, I let it go and come back to the feeling of love, which is found at the bottom of the breath when you've released the fear. As I said, answering Larry's question, fear is the illusion of love's absence, but I'm knowing that love is always there and knowing that I can feel that love by simply releasing the fear, then there's nothing can yuck my yum unless without my own permission to let it yuck my yum. So I don't give it permission, and I keep it as simple as that. This is a very interesting question, Siddharth, because tips for effective meditation and correct prayer. The concept of prayer and meditation are both dogmas. The concept of prayer and meditation are methods, modalities, and techniques. For me, I do what's called sitting in love because I found that I had to let go of the methods, and that every meditation, you do this method until finally you go, and you just let go of the method and you release. What sitting in love is not doing the method or the dogma of meditation and just feeling love. And correct prayer is an interesting thing because who's saying what's correct? In reality, if you want to create something into your life, which is, health, wealth, all the stuff that you would pray for normally, believe it's happening and believe it's coming into you now. That's your prayer. Bible says, when you pray, believe you shall receive and you shall. Whatever you ask in God's name is granted. If you have faith, God's name is I am. I am receiving, I am creating, I am enjoying. Realize that you literally are the pinpoint of creation. God supplies that which you believe. Negative people see a negative world because they believe the world is negative. That's why they have the evidence of a negative world being shown to them, because they believe it. And so the correct prayer, I don't dive into those kind of judgments, but for me, you'll never see me drop on my knees and pray for something, because I just say, thank you, God, for the blank I am receiving, which is, to me, sounds very prayer-like, but everything I'm saying is a present moment declaration that it's happening now. Thank you. When you have gratitude for something, it's because you believe it's happening. Hey, can I have a glass of water? Thank you, right? Thank you. Thank you, God, consciousness, yada, yada, atomic energy, whatever you want to call it. Thank you, God, for the blank, whatever it is I'm creating in that moment. I am, present moment declaration, also the name of God, like I said before. Receiving, not received or will receive, means it's happening right now in this present moment. Amen. Amen means so be it. It means right here, right now, it's done. So putting everything completely present as if it's coming into your experience now. Here's where people struggle. They think they pray for it and poof, it shows up like a magic trick. When I talk about it, I say I am receiving it into my experience, like energy flowing into my experience and then becoming my past, which is now a subconscious belief, right? So I believe it comes in. That does not mean it goes poof in. I mean, it's like it's coming in, easing into my experience and going through. So to me, it's all about what can you believe? I also watched a woman with swelling the size of a grapefruit on the side of her face heal it instantly because in that moment, she chose to simply believe she was healed. And it was an instant healing. But she was there and she had the faith that it could happen. And she took that faith and said she was healed. And she ran around screaming, I'm healed, I'm healed. It was amazing to watch, right? So, but it comes back to the most effective meditation for me. Meditation is I just sit down, I exhale, and I just feel the simplicity of the love and that relaxation that's there. And I just did, I think the video just came out today called How to Sit in Love. I talked about exactly this today on a video. So check that out, Siddharth. I hope that answered your question. Do I have a favorite Bible quote? Do I have a favorite Bible? Yeah. Ye are gods. That's a good one. Greater works than I have done, you will do. That's a pretty good one. Here's one that I like a lot for other reasons. Before Abraham was, I am. People go, oh, that means he was alive before Abraham. To him, Abraham was the representation of the Judaic faith. So before that religion was, I was just creating through I am, meaning everyone is creating through I am. I am a hunter, I'm a gatherer, I'm starving, I am, before there was a religion or an idea of religion. And then, of course, the psalm that I like so much. The psalm was, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. The valley, meaning a lower consciousness or going down away from something on the peak of your mountain. In that time period, they used to say scream from the mountaintops because that's where the highest is, right? So the concept of going down into a valley means you're going lower. In the valley of the shadow of death, not the valley of death, the valley of the shadow of it, this place where we believe we can die because life is eternal. And it says, I shall fear no evil. So it talks about fearlessness. Now, if I get out of Christianity, my favorite Buddhist quote is, when you realize how perfect everything is, you'll tilt your head back and laugh at the sky. So that's my favorite Buddha quote. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, Chitra was telling you about the sitting in love thing. Good job, Chitra. The Templars' knights were the first banking system. You could give your money to Templars in Jerusalem, travel to France, and they will give you money because of the notes you carry, and the money doesn't have to be carried with you to be stolen from you along the road. They were the first banking system used, and to me, I look at it from the idea of, they did pretty darn well, and so it's a kind of a business. Coffee, tea, or me? Huh? Ooh. Chitra, we don't want to go there. It's a great question because struggle itself is a subjective choice. You can choose to struggle or you can choose not to. I choose not to. So I think that we have life experiences, and the Bible literally says you must become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven, and you must be born again. And both of these mean set your past down, set your struggles down, come back to a blank slate and create from that loving space. Come back from before experience, before you've had any of those things that made you think of struggle. And so I think being here and having that experience of that quote unquote struggle, or the illusion of fear, is the thing that allows us to come back to finding that love. And some people never find it. Some people continue to struggle with it. My father and I didn't get along, but I had to let that go, right? I had to let that go. So that's okay. And so I think this is a very broad general statement that we all struggle. Only certain people struggle, and it's the ones who choose to struggle. And let me give you the example. Two guys walk into the gym on leg day. One guy walks in cussing because he hates leg day. Goes to the rack, lifts all the weights, screams, hollers, yells, cusses the whole time because he hates leg day. Does the same, all these reps and the whole bit. Walks out of the gym cussing, my legs hurts, I hate leg day, walks out. Next guy walks in the gym, says, man, my legs are growing today. Walks over to the gym, does the same sets, the same reps, does the same exact stuff. Walks out of the gym saying, boy, I can really feel the tension in my legs. My legs really must have grown today. One of them chose to struggle, the other one didn't. So that's, struggle is a subjective choice, and not everyone struggles. Hello, Maxine. Welcome. Nothing can harm you without your permission. How do we survive the havoc? The concept of how do we survive is a fear-based ideology that you're choosing to lean into, right? I love my days. They're doing whatever they're going to do. Is there anything you can do in this world to change it except for vote or protest? And if you're going to protest peacefully. Share this thing. There's nothing you can do to change it. So why waste your moment here? Mother Teresa said that she would never go to an anti-war rally. She said, have a pro-peace rally, I'll come. The Bhagavad Gita says, thought by thought you forge your destiny. Therefore, to keep your mind on the positive rather than the negative is considered the austerity of the mind. So your thoughts right now is on surviving havoc. My thoughts are on creating a loving world. So exhale, release the fear and anxiety that you're feeling, and stop looking at the outcome that hasn't happened yet, number one. And number two, when you exhale, you'll come back to that calm state because you're releasing the fears that you're reacting to. And you're saying he's wrecking our children's future. That's prophecy. I will tell you that our children's future is going to be very bright, not because of us, because of our children. Look at our children right now. They're less there's less racism. There's less homophobia. My kids' class had none of that. They just loved everybody. They treated each other. They still talk to their friends from kindergarten. They are just loving and caring and beautiful people. And I hear parents say, "Yeah, my kids don't have any of the issues we had as kids." When we make change in the world, it's like a giant cargo ship at sea. There's a bunch of junk on that ship, and we turn that wheel. It takes miles for the bow to come around. It takes miles for the bow to come around because the momentum is going in this direction. When the momentum starts to turn, there are people who say, I don't want to go that way, and they fight, and they argue, and they scream, and they holler. This is why Socrates said, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. I don't think that that our children's future is in any way, shape, or form being wrecked. Because first of all, I don't believe in prophecy. But second of all, I think our children are going to save us more than us old folks, right? Who have, like I remember in my hometown, it's known as the nation's gay summer capital. When I was young, the locals used to go to the gay bars and beat up the gay guys in the parking lots, and it was a bad situation down there. And now it's that town is stunningly beautiful because the community has embraced the alternate lifestyles, and now they're all involved in beautifying and creating the city and making a wonderful place, and it's beautiful. This past summer I went down and watched my brother play in a gay bar. They didn't think of us straight people as anything different. They just thought of people in a bar, right? So in reality, your focus on havoc and needing to survive it is creating havoc around you. My world is turning more and more loving every day because I'm not guessing what's going to happen. They're trying to do stuff. It doesn't mean it's going to succeed. And our kids are going to save us, in my opinion. I hope that answered your question there, Mike. I believe in the oneness of God, and I think that in God there's all possibilities. But I think the second you start to complicate it into really complex ideologies, I think you're making something that's far more simple complicated. So for me, I don't even go there because I believe we're in the oneness of God. And can ETs? Sure. Why not? It'd be kind of naive to think that we're alone in all of this space, right? So I think it'd be kind of egotistical to think that we're the only ones. So, but the interdimensional stuff, I just think that we're there within the oneness of God. Is it possible? Sure. Do I think it matters? No. Not for me anyway. So, but I'd be the first one offering them a drink and a cup of coffee and have them sit down on my deck and talk with me, because I'm all into that. Anger is just fear run amok, and the only way you deal with anger is for you to exhale and choose to be something different. Anger is a choice. I choose to be angry. And you can choose to be releasing that fear, because it's a fear. Anger is just a fear. It usually comes from the fear of not being respected, the fear of not being loved, the fear that somebody's doing something that's going to harm you or somebody you love. It usually can be broken down to the fear of not being loved in some form. And so it's a matter of understanding it's just a fear. And remember what Yoda said. Oh, named must your fears be, before banish them you can. So you have to name it as a fear. Anger, sadness, frustration, all of them are just fears. And when you name it as fear, then you have the ability to release it. Until you name it as fear, until you label it as fear, you're inside of it. You're in fear and you have no control. The second you acknowledge it, named must your fears be. The second you name it and acknowledge it, then what's going to happen is you're going to now be in control of it, because now you're no longer inside of it. It's now an external concept. Hope that makes sense. Mike, I did answer that question, so I'm not going to answer that again. Hello from Alaska. Hello, C. McNulty. I love this because there's no greater power than love. Money and power and rule are not powerful. They're fear. They're fear of not being powerful. And so they create power and they create money and they do all these things to make themselves feel powerful. But the true power of love, that's how Gandhi threw England out of India, by being loving and peaceful rather than violent and trying to force them into power. The greatest power was the love that Gandhi put into that movement. And India was freed from England. So, hey, Shane is here. Welcome, Shane. One of my favorite commenters. What would Yoda have said if he would have been there on the beach with you when you first met him? When I first met Joshua, what would Yoda have said? Yoda. Ooh, bright that man is. Ooh, feel the love. Feel the force. No dark side in that one. Fear leads to the dark side, and Joshua had no fear. That's a fun question. Thank you. Excellent. Follow him, you must. That's funny. Okay, guys, we got about 8 minutes left before I'm going to end this thing, because if I don't, Chitra's going to beat me up. So I got to make sure that. So if you have any more, if you have a, what's this one? Can you give us a naming of fear? Yeah. Well, okay. I love this question, Chitra. Thank you for asking. So, hello, Eric. By the way, naming of fear. People want to think of love and fear as polar opposites. I think of them as being on the same sliding scale. You've got love, you've got fear. Here's neutral. Here's annoyed. Here's amused. Negative feelings are fear. Positive feelings are love. So when you are feeling a negative feeling, simplify it down to it's just fear. And when you simplify it down to just fear, then take that moment to exhale. Take that moment to exhale, because in that moment of exhale, you're releasing that fear. See you later, Changing Wind Podcast. Thanks for coming by. Try talk. I always feel better after these live streams too. I love when we get on here and talk. Stop him, you must. Yeah, stop me. Yes. Yeah. So back. So the naming the fear is just literally understanding that the feeling of a negative emotion is a fear, and when you recognize it as a fear, what happens is you then have that expression of fear being released, because now you've broken, as I said earlier, the only way you can manage fear is to shut off the reaction to fear in the present. I'm looking for something over here. Is to shut off that fear in the present, right? And so to shut off that fear in the present really comes down to you making this conscious choice. And oh, happy I am to see you. There's my Yoda for you. Oh, that's a good comment. Let me pull that up here. Hold on. I guess you're saying there's a fine line between love and hate. Is what you're saying? Yeah, hate is a fear. Hate. Fear is always. Hate is a product of fear. You hate that person because they did something unloving, uncaring. You hate that person because they're just a terrible, rotten person. Well, why does that matter to you? Because of something that is unloving, uncaring. It's and they can affect you, and they can have the problem with you, and you. It's a defense mechanism. It's offense or defense, and both of those are fear based. I have many friends who are not necessarily the most positive people, but I remain positive in their regard, because to me, I have to have that expression of I'm the one in control of my experience. I'm the one who is, as Gandhi would say, being the change I want to see in the world. I want to put myself in a state of place where I myself am in control of my own destiny. Thought by thought, you forge your own destiny. Thoughts are choices, and so I choose that thought. Anyway, well, I'm glad you guys like that Yoda. When I made that a long time ago, I was very excited about doing that. Anyway, well, I think I'm going to wind this down, guys. Guys, it's been a tremendous night. We got a lot out. I hope I haven't offended anyone. Understand, once again, I say this on this as well. I only speak my truth. I don't expect you to take it as yours. I only speak my truth. Whatever doesn't ring true to you, don't follow it, right? If it does ring true for you, try it out. See if it works for you. Spirituality is a personal journey. And that means that you have to find your way. In my Father's house, there are many, many mansions. Even atheists have a mansion, right? So, thank you, guys. And I want to say heads up tonight, I may not be doing the next live stream and going to the one after that, because I have an opportunity to take a vacation. And if I'm going to take that vacation, it won't be almost a full week. I have an opportunity to do that. And I really, quite honestly, would like to do that for myself, because I've been working hard this year. So I will probably miss the next live stream and go to the following, and I will make an announcement if I decide to do that. So you guys have a great evening and a great weekend, and I will talk to you in a few weeks. See you guys. Bye. Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.